What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Road Racing 360 show presented by 1833 CJ Knows Accident and Injury Law. We've got another week of MotoGP action done and dusted, so we're going to bring you some recap from that, as well as a little bit of news from the MotoAmerica paddock as well. As always, we have to thank the show sponsor, 1833 CJ Knows Accident and Injury Law. They're the guys that make this possible, so huge shout out to them. If you have been in an accident, please call 1833 CJ Knows. They ride, they race, and they know the law. Great people that are involved in the sport all the time. So there we go. Another weekend done in MotoGP. This weekend in the land, in the home of Miguel Oliveira. This time he would not be victorious like he was last season. It would actually be a repeat winner from somebody who has already taken one victory this year. And that man would be Fabio Quartararo. Fabio on the factory Yamaha racing team got it done again in pretty dominating fashion. He was able to lead the majority of this race and just bring it home. Really solid win by nearly 5 seconds, so he's really putting it to these guys. Fabio gets it done. Not an incredibly crazy race with a lot of dicing, but we did see a couple front runners crash out late in the race while contesting for podium spots. Unfortunately, we did see Alex Rins, who was pushing to try to keep Fabio within striking distance. He would fall, and then we would also see Johan Zarco, while he was in the second to third positions battling it out, he would end up crashing late in the race as well. So what that meant was Pecco Bagnaia would come home in second place, and Joan Mir would wrap up the podium. Fabio leading the championship now with 61 points, and then Pecco is going to be second with 46. So Fabio's already starting to build the lead. And the fact that Marc Marquez is still kind of recovering after being injured last year. He did race this weekend, but he did come home back in 8th position. No, I'm sorry, 7th position. My bad. Wrap up the top 10, it would be Franco Morbidelli fixing the woes that they faced in Qatar. Brad Binder with an incredible charge up to 5th place, making that KTM work. Aleix Espargaro would be 6th. It seems like he gets a lot of 6th places now, huh? Marc Marquez would fade back to 7th after starting the race pretty strong, but race distance proved to be quite a challenge with his surgically repaired arm that is still not 100% obviously. His brother Alex Marquez would come home 8th, Enea Bastianini 9th, and Taka Nakagami wraps up the top 10. We would also see Jack Miller and Valentino Rossi, as well as Miguel Oliveira, crash out of the race. Unfortunately, those guys who were hoping for better results would not get it. They will have to wait till next round to try to make that happen. Everybody here at Road Racing 360 is wishing Jorge Martin a speedy recovery. He was injured earlier in the weekend before race day. He has undergone surgery and will not make it back for next race. So heal up Jorge, promising young rider who has already had some really solid results, but we're sure he will heal up and be back at it. Jumping to Moto2, a really good race here with a lot of dicing all the way to the checkered flag, but it would be the rookie Raul Fernandez who would come home with the win. His first win and only his 3rd Moto2 race. This is a class that is ridiculously challenging and competitive, so the fact that he was able to do that is incredibly impressive. Aaron Canet would end up coming home 2nd. Remy Gardner would come home 3rd, wrapping up the podium after an aggressive pass on Joe Roberts to make it to that spot. Joe Roberts would come home 4th, and Augusto Fernandez would end up 5th. American Cameron Beaubier, after some excitement where he saw crashes occur right in front of him, running off track, all sorts of things, was still able to fight his way up to 9th place, earning his first top 10 finish in Moto2. And now in Moto3, we did have another repeat winner, and it would be the sensational rookie Pedro Acosta. Acosta was able to make a last lap pass to take the win over Dennis Foggia, who is in 2nd, Andrea Mignon in 3rd, Ayumi Sasaki in 4th, and Gabriel Rodrigo wrapping up the top 5. As mentioned earlier, Jorge Martin will be out, so it was announced that Tito Rabat will fill in for him at the next round in Jerez. Now, Tito has raced MotoGP for a long freaking time between his years in Moto2 and MotoGP, so he's a pretty solid fill-in. He is going to be contesting the World Superbike Championship this year for the Barney Racing team, but that season doesn't start for another month and a half or so, so he's got plenty of time to get some racing in for the Pramac Ducati team. Nothing new from World Superbike this week, but we do have news from MotoAmerica. It was announced that Honos would stay as the title sponsor of the Superbike class. It was announced that Scheibe Racing had found a rider for their BMW for the 2021 season. And that rider would be Hector Barbera, the ex-MotoGP and World Superbike rider. This is going to be pretty exciting to see another guy that has some world-class talent come over to the US and see if he can do what other riders haven't and take that BMW to the top step of the podium. Wraps it up for this week's episode of the Road Racing 360 show. Stay tuned for next episode as we prepare for the kickoff of the MotoAmerica season. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next week.